Thank you. All right, the committee has returned from executive session and we're going to continue on with our agenda. So the next item is agenda changes. I don't believe there are any.
No.
Thank you. So we'll move to public comment. This is an opportunity for members of the public to address the committee for up to 3 minutes. Under open meeting law, this committee is unable to reply but may add items to a future agenda. If you are going to speak, please identify yourself by sharing your name and the town that you live in. Do we have anybody? No. Nobody. All right, we'll move on from public comments. We'll move to priority business A, which is the Assistant Superintendent of Finance and Operations appointment, recommendation, and vote. And just for the committee, for the public to know, the school committee is responsible for awarding contracts to certain district administrators. And that includes this position here tonight that we'll discuss. So Superintendent Brands, provide some background and credentials and share a little bit about the contract.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Again, for members of the community may be watching, the information and all references included in the packet under this first item tonight. Within the packet, you'll see a number of documents relative to this proposal for the Assistant Superintendent of Finance and Operations. The documents include both a cover memo that just underscores, as the chair mentioned, your role as a school committee in the appointment of this position, both from the standpoint of being an assistant superintendent position as well as the oversight of business administration. I will point out and thank the members of the search committee who joined Bob Dutch, Paul Donlin, and myself. We had representation from all of the school committees, which was terrific, and we appreciate their assistance. It's my pleasure to be able to present to the committee tonight a recommendation for your consideration in the appointment of Dr. Beth Rigoglutto as Assistant Superintendent of Finance and Operations for the Nauset Public Schools. Dr. Rigoglutto currently serves as the Assistant Superintendent of Finance for the Brockton Public Schools, a large complex district in and of itself with an operating budget of a little over $425 million. She previously served as the superintendent of the Southern Berkshire Regional School District from 2017 to 2025, and in that role oversaw a number of capital projects as well as transportation, food services, and facility management. She brings to us an extensive wealth of experience, not only within the financial realm, but also within the realm of regional school districts, obviously a key asset and key benefit for our operations here. One of the things that intrigued me is she is continues to be very active both in the superintendency realm within the state as well as within the Massachusetts Association of School Districts Officials. She's expressed her strong desire to continue connected to those organizations in which I'm wonderfully support. You have a copy of the contract before you that's included in the packet. This contract has been reviewed by council, and it reflects a 3-year contract with the compensation proposed therein at $180,000. With your approval tonight, we are full steam ahead, and Beth will join us officially in this role of capacity on June 1st, 2026. I'm happy to take any questions that members of the committee have on this recommendation before you tonight.
Any questions? Seeing none. So the type of vote that we will take tonight for this position is one of Union 54. There's 3 voting members of Union 54 from each elementary committee. And then the Nauset Regional School Committee members will vote. And a majority of the voting members of each body is needed for this to pass. So each committee does have a quorum. So we will move forward if I can get a motion from the region relative to the contract for the Assistant Superintendent of Finance and Operations.
I move that we approve the hiring of Dr. Beth Rigoglutto as our new Assistant Superintendent for Finance and Operations.
I have to say the contract. I have to say
It can.
Based on contract.
Based on a contract as before us, as presented.
So it's cover all. It's scary.
Never using me.
I do have a second. Second. Any discussion from the region? All right, we'll call the members. Katie Cole? Yes. Rick Draper?
Yes.
Chris Beasley?
Yes.
Catherine Lonsdale?
Yes.
I vote yes. Judy Schumacher?
Yes.
And Sarah Stair?
Yeah.
Okay, we will start with the Brewster School Committee Union 54 voting members relative to contracts. Anybody have a motion? Actually, I'm sorry, we do it for Union 54 as a whole, so I only need one person from Union 54 to second from Union 54, then we'll go after.
Could Jen read back what Judy said? Jen, can you read
We have a
back what
request to,
Judy's motion was?
Regional motion made by Judy Schumacher, move to approve the hiring of,
Rick Berthold.
thank you, based on the contract report.
All right, and I'm sorry, I did not hear all that. If that's what I was supposed to hear, all right, you give me.
yeah, go ahead.
So,
Take your
I
step.
was just going to move that we approve of the hiring of this person talked about. And again, I'm not sure I even know the last name. So that's pretty bad. But anyway, I'm having a little hearing problem, so that's what I'm admitting right now.
Perfect, that would just include per the contract.
The contract, yes, thank you.
Perfect, okay. We have a second from Union 54.
Second.
I second it.
It's officially
That's
accepted.
fine.
Okay, we'll go through the voting members of Union 54, Judy Lett,
Yes.
Steve Leibowitz,
Yes.
Sarah Sherman. Yeah. And from East Sam, Sarah Higgins.
Yes.
Lindsay Palmer
Yes.
and Deborah Raymond.
Yes.
And from Orleans, Cassandra Roach,
Yes.
Gail Briere,
Yes.
Ginger Marks.
Yes.
And Wellfleet Martha Gordon,
Yes.
Lauren Hill.
Yes.
And Melissa Lynch.
Yes.
Okay. Passes unanimously from both bodies. So.
That's great.
Alright, and I imagine we'll have an opportunity to meet Dr. Regaludo at our upcoming committee meetings or at this next joint meeting. Yes,
Could you say her last name?
I actually haven't met her, I've met Regaludo,
Yeah.
I don't know if that.
Regaludo?
Regaludo, she'll be able to tell us. Okay.
I think he.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, so the next item on our agenda is the superintendent contract recommendation and possible votes. Both Judith Schumacher as chair of the Nauset Regional School Committee and Gail Briere as chair of Union 54 on this responsibility on behalf of the body. I'm gonna hand it off to them to tell us.
Okay, our superintendent has a 3-year contract that runs from June 1st of 2025 to July 1st, 2025 to June 30th, 2028. The second year of the contract needs to be funded, and that's what we're here to do tonight. So Gail and I are recommending a salary increase of 4.5%, which would bring the salary to $244,530. There are no other changes to be made to the contract this time. We are recommending a 4.5% based on this last year of work, in which our district has faced some extraordinary circumstances, and to which the superintendent came in almost blindly on some of them because they were not known when he took the job. There are a number of these, but first and foremost, and I think what took almost consumed all of us this last year was the dearth of staff in the finance department. when Superintendent Brand came on July 1st, we had no finance director, we had no assistant finance director. And the other staff in that office were fairly new. There was very little institutional memory. No one really knew where all the records were. He put together a staff of retired people, brought them in, made them a family, a working team, and got the 5 school districts through an extraordinary budget year, all the while going through a software conversion that had started before he came, of our financial systems. It was an extraordinary effort for which this school committee member is deeply grateful. In addition to that, some other things, kind of like out of the ordinary things that happened this year, he brought on a new, thankfully, she's here someplace now, assistant superintendent. Did not give up on the plans for a new strategic plan, went ahead, could have easily shelved that and said, maybe not this year, but went ahead with that. Took on the co-chair of the efficiency and regionalization study with the towns, which is a huge undertaking. And all the while really ramped up the communication and kept all 30 of his school committee members well informed, timely informed. And I don't think that there was a time when we ever thought things were happening that we didn't know. We were always informed and felt, I think that helped our confidence level tremendously. And all the time, keeping his promise to be visible in the schools. I don't know when you had time to sleep, Glenn, but we recognize the efforts that have gone on this year, and thus we are making the recommendation of.
Okay. Any comments from anybody? All right, so this vote is similar to the vote that we just made. It'll be a vote of Union 54 voting members, and the Nauset Regional School Committee will also vote. So we'll start with Union 54 this time, and we need a motion from someone from Union 54 who's a voting member, and a second from someone who's a voting member. So do I have a motion to approve a 4.45% salary increase for FY27 for the superintendent of the Nauset Public Schools? So moved. And do I have a second from second for? You second. Okay, let's go through this. Union 54 voting members from Wellfleet, Martha Gordon,
Yes.
Lauren Hill,
Yes.
and Melissa Lynch.
Yes.
And from Orleans, Cecilia Roach,
Yes.
Gail Briere,
Yes.
Ginger Marks.
Yes.
From Eastham, Sarah Higgins.
Yes.
Lindsay Palmer,
Yes.
and Deborah Raymond.
Yes.
And from Brewster, Judy Lepp,
Yes.
Steve Leibowitz,
Yes.
and Sarah Sherman.
Yeah.
Okay, that passes unanimously from Union 54. Let's move to the region. Do I have a motion to approve a 4.5% salary increase for FY27 for the superintendent of the Nauset Public Schools? So moved. And a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, Katie Cole.
Yes.
Rick Draper.
Yes.
Chris Easley.
Yes.
Catherine Lonsdale.
Yes.
I vote yes. Judy Schumacher.
Yes.
And Sarah Stair.
Yes.
Okay, also passes unanimously. Thank you to the superintendent, David, and thank you to Gail and Judy for their efforts on behalf of this body. Okay, let's see, we will move on to calendar discussions for the FY27 calendar school year. And I know you all received a memo and the calendar that's being proposed. And this is a continuation of discussion for the prior meeting, so I'm gonna hand it over to the superintendent to fill you in on where we're landing.
Thank you. In your packet, there is both the cover memo and, what amounts to, one proposal for the school year calendar as it stands for the 2026-27 school year. You may recall, we obviously talked about this before as a committee, and we did explore with the association the possibility of adjusting the contract language that, is pointed out in that memo, and just for those in the community who may be watching and curious about this. Your contract as a school committee, as a governing body, does include language that's specific to when our staff and in turn when our school starts the school year. Article 8 of the contract notes that the work year will normally begin no earlier than the Wednesday before Labor Day. That's an important point when you take a look at the calendar and where Labor Day falls for next year. We did explore, as I mentioned, that with the staff, but it was not clear to us with confidence that we would necessarily have enough staff in support of it. It didn't say that, not suggesting there wasn't interest in it, but short of being able to come back to you with something that altered that language, which would be an adjustment. So with that said, and consideration of the fact that we really want to get this, it's already later than normally what I would prefer to do in the future. We thought that we would leave it as is, respectful for the language of the contract. And Labor Day being later pushes the end of the year later, of course, as well too. Highlights include really trying to mirror the current school calendar that you have in place, inclusive of the 2 professional development days. The Friday before Labor Day is a non-work day for staff. The calendar will therefore include students starting after Labor Day, which is on the 8th of September. Wednesday before Thanksgiving continue to remain a non-school, non-work day, as has been the case as we've learned in the recent past here. The last day of school, no work-related closures, would be Thursday, June the 24th. The final day of school, if there were the need for those additional days, would be June 30th, leading to 4 snow days. Obviously, this year was, by all accounts, an exception. It's hard to envision something similar next year. I hope I'm not jinxing it. So that's where we stand, and I think, it certainly seems to Vicki as assistant superintendent and I that there's some will that we should further explore in the possibility of adjusting this language going forward. It would be a prime opportunity to talk more about this as we go into contract negotiations next year. And perhaps also get a sense and engage with the community as well too, more component of whether or not our staff and our communities will, whether or not there's a will to change this. So all of that, one way of saying, we have one calendar proposal for you for your consideration, and it is something that you should vote on as the school committee. We're happy to take questions if you have any on this today.
Any questions?
Sorry, and I did remember from last time, I appreciate you putting in the open house dates as well. I don't know if you've done that, have you done that in years past? But it's very nice to see that.
Full credit to the individual on my left.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Lindsay?
Hi, Glenn, you mentioned the possibility of changing the language next time contract negotiations happen, and to me, it seems like an easy fix to say the work year will normally begin no earlier than the first Wednesday in September. So just throwing that out there, it seems like it would solve this problem of Labor Day moving around. Thanks.
Sure, thank you.
Thanks, Lindsay. Anybody else? Okay.
Actually, I have a question. What would happen if we had 6 snow days with this?
We're not gonna have sex.
We can't go past.
No, we cannot go past the 30th of June. There are, and we also often think about snow, but of course there can be circumstances in which there's a system failure in the school lead to its closure. So we would have to, we'd have to come up with some sort of either exception with the Department of Education and Commissioner, which certainly, gosh forbid, if one could imagine a similar track of snow and weather cancellations, other districts will be faced with the same thing. And there will, certainly, I'm sure it can be, something from the commissioner's standpoint to address, but we're not going to have that. So.
That sounds great. Anybody else? Okay. We're gonna mix it up and do a new kind of vote. This is an individual vote of each committee, like you're in your own meetings, so we're gonna each need a motion and a second, and then we'll go through it as quickly as we can, 5 times. So do I have a motion from any of the committees relative to the FY 27 school calendar?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Go for it.
Go ahead, Martha.
Gail's giving you the floor, Martha.
Okay, the floor. Thank you. I move that we accept the calendar for the school year 2026, 2027.
And a second from Wally.
I second.
Second. Any discussion in Wally? Okay, Martha Gordon. Martha? What's your vote?
I was muted. Yes, please.
Perfect. Lauren Hill,
Yes.
Melissa Lynch,
Yes.
Amy Murphy,
Yes.
and Joan Zukas.
Yeah.
Okay, passes unanimously and will think how about Orleans
Make a motion to approve the FY 27 calendar as presented this evening.
in a second.
Second.
Any discussion, Orleans? Okay, Sandra Roach,
Yes.
Gail Briere,
Yes.
Ginger Marks. Yes. Kathy McNamara.
Yes.
Okay, how about Eastham?
I make a motion to approve the FY 27 school calendar.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion in Eastham? Okay, Sarah Higgins.
Yes.
Monica Montoya Quintero,
Yes.
Lindsay Palmer,
Yes.
and Deborah Raymond.
Yes.
Passes unanimously. Eastham, Brewster.
I so move to, I'm sorry, to vote for the 2027 calendar as presented.
For a second.
Second.
Any discussion in Brewster? Okay, Julie,
Yes.
Steve Leibowitz,
Yes.
and Sarah Sherman.
Yeah.
Brewster, and the Nauset Regional School Committee, do I have a motion?
I move that we approve the 26-27 calendar as presented.
Okay, and a second?
Second.
Any discussion for the region? Katie Cole.
Yes.
Rick Draper.
Yes.
Chris Easley.
Yes.
Catherine Lonsdale.
Yes.
I vote yes. Judy Schumacher.
Yes.
And Sarah Starr. Okay, passes unanimously from all committees. Thank you. And thank you to the superintendent, assistant superintendent, to anybody else who worked on the calendar. There'll be some happy plans to get that out. Okay. The next item is a memorandum of agreement between the Nauset Regional School District and Superintendency Union 54. And I'm going to hand it over to Gail and Judy to talk to you more about this. It's a new topic for this body, so I'm going to have them introduce it to you.
Yes, we're back again. And Katie, you may learn all you wanted to know about superintendent. Do you have that? Yeah. So we don't have a draft MOA to give to you tonight. Gail, as the chair of Union 54, and I, as the chair of the region, have drafted an MOA. It's a memorandum of agreement for shared services for the things we do together as Superintendency Union 54 and as the region. We have been encouraged by our lawyer for a while now that how we operate, we've done on an informal basis, and it's best practices and is encouraged by DESE and the Department of Education to actually put it in writing how we operate. So I took advantage of the fact that Gail is the guru on Superintendency Union 54, so I wanted to get this started before she left. So we do have a draft. It was sent off to the lawyer and we just got the first comments back on Monday. So it's not quite ready for prime time yet. It needs some cleaning up. So this is an overview of what it is that we're doing. But I thought that we would start, can you make that bigger?
Yeah.
So they can see. I thought that we could start with maybe a few fun facts on the history of how we got to be who we are today. I don't think this rises to pub trivia night, but it's Nauset trivia night. So prior to 1956, Eastham and Wellfleet tuitioned their high school students to Orleans High School, which was in this building. Grades 9 to 12, and each town kept their own elementary schools, K to 8. In 1956 was when the first actual formal region was formed, and it was cleverly called the Orleans Eastham Wellfleet Regional School District. And then 2 years later, and this was again for grades 9 to 12, 2 years later in 1958, they expanded this to cover grades 7 to 12, again, in this building. And at that time, Superintendency Union 54 was established by the three towns' elementary school districts. And Superintendency Union 54, because Katie is dying to know this.
I really am. Can I interrupt just ask, we don't have a copy of this, but could we get one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, we will get.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, sure. So the Superintendency Union is not the labor union, it's not the teachers union, it's not a trade union, it's not a longshoreman. It is a superintendency union, which is established by law in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and gives the elementary schools that form this union, makes it a legal entity that is then authorized to hire a superintendent. Thus, it's cleverly called a superintendency union. And to hire a superintendent and a central office staff. Otherwise, these three elementary schools would be hiring their own superintendent, like Truro has its own superintendent. It allows you to collectively come together. The fact that the region and the superintendency union have hired the same superintendent has just been done by practice. There's been nothing written on how it's done, which was why the lawyer encouraged us to write this MOA. Anyway, Jen.
Does the 54 or how was that number determined? Was it?
They I think there are, I want to say 16 superintendency unions in Massachusetts, and they're all just given numbers by, there aren't 54 superintendency unions, so I don't know that drop down that, you know, it was somebody's favorite number. And then in 1960, 2 years later, being very difficult to say, Orleans, Eastham, and Wellfleet, the name of the region was changed to the Nauset Regional School District, much easier. And it went on like that for 6 years. And then in 1966, Brewster joined the region, the regional district, but only for grades 9 to 12, and then kept their elementary, their school, K to 8. And then 5 years later, in 1971, Nauset Regional split into two physical buildings. The then new campus up in Eastham for the high school 9 to 12. And this continued to be the middle school, grades 5 to 8. Brewster at that point then completely joined the region and Superintendency Union 54. And so that's when we became what we are. today. I will note that even though this region, the school split in 1971, they weren't able to move into the high school until January of 72. So for the first 4 months of that year, September through December, there were over 1,000 students at this school. The 5 through 12 were all at this school on split shifts.
You mean five?
Five. Five. It was 5th grade.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Between 1971 and 1989, the fifth graders, when did it change? Because it's like fifth, it's K through
It
six.
changed in 1989.
Right, but then it says 5 through 8 in 1971, the Nauset Regional split into 2 schools, high school in East Salem, middle school in Orleans, 5 through 8, but the fifth graders at that point are at the elementary schools.
No, 5th
I mean,
graders.
the sixth graders, sorry, are at the elementary school at that point, because it changes 1989 to K through, am I making sense? Do you know what I mean? Like, it was K through 6 at all the elementary schools, all the way till 1989, this says, but it also says in 1971, Nauset Regional split, the middle school became 5 through 8.
For the high school was 9 to 12. In 1971, the high school was 9 to 12, and the middle school was 5 to 8.
So where do they get the fifth graders if they're still at the
No, they're here in the middle school.
But the elementary schools changed to K through 5. Is this just me? I'm confused, like.
Yes,
You're
the
about
fifth,
to-
the fifth grade was moved back to the elementary schools in 1989.
Okay.
Before 89, fifth
Okay,
grade
I'm sorry.
was
Okay.
in the middle school. You went to the 5th grade here. See?
Easy.
Call it the town. It might be full scale.
So in 1989, we got the configuration that we have today. K-5 in the elementary schools, 6 to 8 in the middle school. I will clarify that last point.
Only for me, apparently.
Yeah. Martha.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you. Martha, do you have a question?
I do, it's actually a request. I don't know about the other people who are zooming in. I'm having a very difficult time hearing most of what's going on. And I'm wondering if there's a way that the people who are leading a particular discussion can get closer to the microphone.
Yeah, we'll work on that. Judy, can you talk a little louder? And I'm gonna be able to turn up the.
Oh, I have a microphone right here. Ooh, look. Okay.
We're gonna work on that. Let us know if it doesn't get better, okay?
Morgan,
Yeah.
may I just add a little bit to what Judith just went through? And at the same time, probably proving I'm the oldest person in the room.
Just speak
I
loud.
went here from Brewster for 1950, what was it, the first 56, 57, graduated in 60. So I was here all that time. So whether or not, I don't know what the official connection was, but in Brewster, if you graduated from Little Brewster School with 150 kids, 1 through 8, at that time, you could go to Yarmouth or you could go to Orleans. And this was Orleans High School, and it was called that. And if you know the Norshore people in town, the wonderful people, and Pete, who has the whole history of the whole thing, so, I mean, it was.
You were tuitioned in.
I'm sorry.
You were tuitioned.
Yeah, so unless they had an agreement, if you go to either place and anybody that wanted to play football went to Yarmouth, because we didn't play football.
I'll put that in there.
Then there's something else up there, as I said, just that, Orleans High School should be in here if we're gonna get the true picture there. And now with that thing having come down, I missed something that I'm thinking about there. And what else? only that we were, 1960, it was, as you said, the official Nauset Regional School District. Of course, why the governor at the time wanted to regionalize everything. That's how that happened to come. And then you said in 1966, Brewster joined, so we must have officially joined in another way because, of course, we were continuing to go here, and my brother graduated in 66.
They officially joined the region, no longer tuitioned in.
Yeah,
But
right.
joined the region.
Making it different from the other, but yeah.
And got to have representatives on the school committee.
Right, okay, so I just wanted to make sure it was, in there that we Brewster kids also went here for those early years.
Thank you. It's like a living history tonight.
I know. And I do realize that most people in this room, other than Judy and myself, were born in 1956 when it started out. Oh, all right.
Just was
Most of these people. All right, so that's our trivia for today. So back to the MLA. So since its inception, the regional school district and Union 54 have shared services on an informal basis. And this MOA is just basically going to codify how we operate together, including how we vote, especially how we vote. And on what things. And so why are we doing it? Not just because the lawyer told us to do, we're advised us to, but because it will clarify the roles, set the rules. It will promote transparency and consistency, and assure that we are aware of and adhere to the legal requirements. And it's another one of these things in our steps, and another step to try to ensure that there are things that are written and instilled so that when we get all of this change in membership in our school committees, that there is memory. We're not just relying on somebody's mind, that we have this actually in writing. And it helps people like Maura, who is the head of the joint committee and has to figure out who votes how for what. And it's always a challenge. So the major elements, it's not a long, or it wasn't when it started. It wasn't a long, oh, it was 4 pages. With big type, it's a little bit longer, but 9 pages. It covers 3 major areas: the superintendent, how the superintendent is hired, all the process that we went through last time of the superintendent selection, the contracting with the superintendent, and the evaluation. So anything to do with the superintendent, we do on a region and Union 54 basis. So that is in there. Also, it covers the central office staff. It will identify who is covered, what is covered, how we as school committee members interact with what areas, what our responsibilities are. And then the central office budget, how all this is paid for. And so it will codify how the expenses are shared so that we make sure that we're doing them properly. Just a couple of other things in there. It sets terms for opting out. I hope nobody opts out of this, but it does set the term for opting out. And
Opting out of the region?
Opting out of this agreement of yes, and it would be out of, somebody wants to opt out of Union 54.
Which is not the same thing as opting out of the regional district agreement.
Right, that would be 2 different things, right? And it also sets up regular reviews so that it would be reviewed at least every 3 years. And that would give everybody who comes on to a school committee a chance to review it at least once if you stay for a full term. Either that or when any school committee requests a review of it. There are additional areas where we as a body, act together. For instance, on policy, on transportation, but those aren't necessarily as the region and Union 54. So as an example of no good deed goes unpunished, the lawyer has suggested that there's separate MOUs for things like that. So that's coming later, but that's what this MOU is. You will see it at our next meeting, in September. And, hopefully we will have it done.
We will.
And like anything else, you learn things as you do it, as you go along, that, you know, Union 54 has the authority to hire school physician. Didn't know that, so, but you do. Things like that, anyway. Any questions?
So this would be the superintendency union agreement, like it's the same thing. I was trying to read about superintendency unions to learn about it, and it seems like there is no existing superintendency union agreement for Nauset written down.
Correct.
And that's why we're doing this. But you're calling it a memorandum of agreement, although I think in some superintendency unions, it's just called superintendency union agreement.
That would be something that the 4 school districts who are members of the superintendency union would do on their own.
And so it has
separate
been sat down, it's just been sort of like, how was it established? If it was never written down, it was just a vote to, like, as you went through, it was a vote in a meeting to become this, and then there was nothing written, no terms of like, entering or leaving exist until what you're doing right now.
As far as we know. What we're doing right now has never existed. The superintendency union has the authority to hire a superintendent. The region has the authority to hire a superintendent. We are not by any means required to hire the same superintendent. The fact that we do that for efficiency and financial reasons, and it's just our own choice. But nothing has ever been written about that, which is why the lawyer said you really need to get that formalized, because the way we operate here has no basis in law. And the reason for a memorandum of agreement is that it's actually a legal document.
Thank you.
So I've been told.
Sarah?
But there is a superintendency union 54 agreement.
No.
Not with the region, because
Not that anybody, not that the lawyer knows about it.
that set up union 54, there was no document.
I don't know, you make an application to the state, they said yes, but how you operate.
Just because you referred to, oh, I learned that they can hire their own physician.
Because because those were the comments that came back on the draft MOA.
Yeah.
I thought this was very fascinating. There was a lot of information I didn't know, and kudos to you for digging it up.
I have to say, I don't know where I had it, but I had a 1-page paper that I found, God knows where I find things, that had a lot of this history on it. I don't know where it came from, but
It's amazing when you go to look for something and school committee notes. If any of you have ever had to go into older school committee minutes. I mean, they were handwritten. It's nothing. It looks nothing like it does today. I had to do some research, and I must have sat there for hours. I mean, it was really interesting to read what they talked about, and today you wouldn't talk about those things in meeting, but
John,
This is, I think I'm more confused now than I was. Okay. Could you just tell me why we have a Union 54? Why do we have this split? Why do we need it?
Why do you need a split between what?
Why do we have a Union 54?
You have Union 54 because it gives you the legal authority to hire the same superintendent. Otherwise, as a school district, as Wellfleet School District, you would have the authority to hire a superintendent.
Right, we all have separate ones.
You'd all have separate.
But why? I mean, why?
I think I can answer this, it's because we are not an elementary school in this district. We are our own district. The Wellesley Elementary School is its own district. The only schools in the Nauset Regional School District are the middle school and high school. We are together because of the superintendency union. The elementary schools are all independent districts. That's why this district profile says, for the assistant finance person, says 5 school districts.
The district I came from, we had a regional high school and middle school. They had their own superintendent. Then the 3 other towns, elementary towns, each had their own superintendent.
And so this allows us, so the sole purpose is this allows us to have one superintendent.
Yes.
And so when we vote as a Union 54, we're only voting on things that are relevant to
The superintendent.
the superintendent.
The central office, like the hiring of the assistant superintendent, yes.
Because I think we're a district very similar, and we didn't have that. So I got it, but thank you.
Steve had his
So,
hand up.
Yeah, thank you. I see it. Thank you, Chris. We'll go to Steve and then Sarah and Katie. Thank you for that description. You did your homework. Go ahead, Steve.
Thank you through the chair. I think I know the answer to this, but do select boards have to approve this?
I'm sorry?
I'm asking, I think I know the answer to this, but do select boards have to approve this also?
No. I will ask the lawyer, but I don't believe so.
Okay. Sarah.
Did, after you did this, the deed goes unpunished, did you then think, oh, we should have a superintendency Union 54 agreement?
Yes, I think so.
Did it make you think that, that we should have that document?
I think so, yeah. I mean, we do things because we've always done them this way, and it certainly makes sense to, to formalize it so that when the people who have the history leave,
Right.
new people coming on can look at a document that says this is the way we operate.
Yeah. Just as an example, when we went out for superintendent search for Brooke, or when we hired Brooke for that superintendent search, we contacted the lawyer to make sure that we were doing the superintendent search right. Did the same thing when we went out to do the superintendent search when we hired Glenn. Now it won't be there. We'll know what we can do and what we can't do. The one other thing that I wanted to say about the voting, the reason that there are 3 from each school district is that's part of the law. So if you've got 10 people on your school committee, you will have 3 members of Union 54. If you've got 3 people on your school committee, we'll have 3 members of the Union 54. And I don't know where they got that number, the same place they got 54. And that's it. So.
Anybody else? All right. I will say, we'd like to, joke about the lawyer, but she is very schooled in regions. So we are lucky to have her, even though she opens up a lot of boxes that we weren't expecting. She is excellent to have as a resource. So this is a good example of that. So thank you to Judy and Gail again for your work on this. I also found it very interesting, the history, and I think it will serve the bodies extremely well going forward, not having to reinvent the wheel every time we go through these processes. So thank you. We look forward to the draft.
And just so the people are, the other thing, when the region was formed, and when they split into the two schools and the, fifth grade came up to the middle school, the regional budget went up by 70% that year. So our increase this year was nothing.
Okay, so we'll move to subcommittee updates. We have an update from one subcommittee tonight. It's a policy subcommittee for a second read and a vote on a policy I, J, K, and L. And I'm going to hand it off to Judy Lett to present this as the chair of the policy subcommittee.
Yes, let me say right off the bat that we will not be voting tonight, as it turns out. We had a very long meeting on Monday. And there are still things that must be done to policies as they have been written. I mean, policy is a fluid circumstance always. Vicki has put in a tremendous amount of work looking at, pieces that need to be done for the future as well. So there's a lot on the table right now. And I think I mentioned to you sometime earlier when I talked about the policy committee that there'd be another very eventful year. Well, right now, what the situation is that we have to make sure that all our ducks are in a row with the policies before we rightfully bring them to you, because you should have all the information about each and every policy. And it's a very long story about how, Mass dropped the ball and we picked it up and we, put it together again, but we just didn't feel as of Monday that we could go ahead and ask you to do it this way. We'd rather have you better informed at the point at which you were going to do a vote. And so we'll be working on that, as well as continuing to move forward on the kinds of things. And as I said, Vicki's put a lot of time in on looking at, and besides the fact that we got information from, Jesse from the state, that there are these new ones that are complicated and and so forth. So that will save a little time tonight.
Yeah,
and it will be continued, and you'll get more of that.
5 more times for vote. So,
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you. And thanks for your leadership on the subcommittee.
You're quite welcome. It's been quite a run.
We appreciate it. Okay, we'll move on to superintendent updates.
Thank you. Linked to your agenda. Apologies for this coming to you just earlier today, but I wanted to take the opportunity while together just to share a few general updates with this committee, and I'll just go through quickly in order. We're with Jen working on creating the calendar for school committee meetings next school year, based upon current format and structure and timing of what the committees have had this year. The thought is to bring these to the committees for review in June. I recognize quickly the need to try and get these all ironed out and in place, and then start to build the subcommittee meetings and all of the other various meetings around these meetings, but it starts with these. Bring before all school committees in June a draft for each of the committees to weigh in on, and then we'll hopefully try and finalize those. I did also want to point out that the possibility of requesting committee members to consider moving this committee, the joint committee, and of course with the new members that are going to be here after elections, just before school starts in September. It's occurred to Vicki and I that we'll have quite a few things that we want to bring, to coincide with the launch of the school year, a new strategic plan. Important to be able to bring that before the committee to approve that, to review. More to come in the upcoming meetings, but the student handbook, a lot of work has to come. Vicki, to her credit, has discovered lots of work that just simply won't be able to get done before school lets out at the end of June. But that's important for you as a school committee to approve. So there's a few things that are kind of looming there, and obviously I'll work with the chairs to see if we can make that possible. It's not lost upon me that that would be asking committee members to come together before school officially starts for the school system. But if that's something that people are open to, a little ways away to starting to think about that. Artificial intelligence and digital learning. This is, of course, a very, it's in the news all the time, and so too is it within school systems. We know that a lot of activities taking place across the country beyond around AI, and that's also inclusive of the work that started here in the district. And we know that that's important to convey to not just this group, but also our staff as well as our stakeholders at large. Work is already off the ground and has started, and throughout the May upcoming set of school committee meetings, Taylor Ryan and Vicky will provide more insight in terms of the work that's begun and where that's looking to go in the near term future. So just wanted to bring that to your attention. I know that members have had some questions about this. Where are we at? Districts from our vantage point, districts are all over the place as it relates to their work and their engagement in this important topic. But it's one that clearly we can't ignore, and we're not, and so more to come in terms of where we're headed on that. Efficiency and regionalization update. I think that these dates have been shared with you, but just again to put them before you. The study is moving forward to its conclusion, and but knowing that the end of the year is near, dates have been set. Final times and locations have not been yet. And I will say that this is also, there's an intersection with the town managers for this as well too. But you can see the dates that are in stone. June 2nd, Orleans, Wednesday, June the 3rd, Wellfleet, Thursday, June the 4th, Brewster, Monday, June the 8th, Eastham. This will be the same presentation, but just again, consistent with the other parts of the study where the effort is to try and bring a presentation to each of the 4 towns. But these meetings are open to everyone, and there'll be nothing unique for each of the presentations. One question that we'll have to sort through is whether or not we're hosting this as an official meeting, depending on if we have a quorum. And I think that will probably be sorted out at the next steering committee meeting that's set for next week, I think. So, but just so you have these dates on, there's been every effort made to avoid existing conflicts with town events or meetings and school events. I don't think it's totally possible, but every effort's been made. So that's where we're landing with that. Speaking of planning, strategic planning update, a number of people who are here tonight were also in this room last night. The food array wasn't quite as good. It was still very good. But it's just a great group, lots of great participation, and there's a few pictures there that gives you a bit of a glimpse into the activity. We focused on really digging into last night some of what could emerge as the strategic initiatives and ongoing work reviewing the vision, mission, and core values. We have 2 more meetings set. The next one is Tuesday, May the 19th. We remain on schedule. Vicky and I have continued to work with Pam, who's the consultant, and she's continues to be optimistic that we're not behind, we're not ahead, we're where she wanted us to be, and her plan was to be. So things are moving ahead, and the intention is also to start to give our administrators as well as members of our committee a sort of a glimpse in terms of where this is heading. So you're not just at the start of school, a new complete plan is dumped in your lap and asked you to work with it. So it's a little premature for that yet, but that will probably be in June, I would say. But lots of great work, and thanks for everyone who is a part of it here, and many members of our community. This was probably a part of it. So that's it for the report, and happy to take any questions and members of the committee have tonight on this.
Question.
I have a question. Thank you. The stakeholders that you were just said, the artificial intelligence and digital learning, you're expanding the current committee to include a broader range of stakeholders in that. What were you thinking of stakeholders for that? Educators, and was there a?
Yeah, so we just had our district meeting today to kind of discuss that, and just if I can back up a little bit, like our district meeting just started this January, so it's a pretty new one, and I think that the goal of it was to build some capacity within our like a smaller team that would kind of help lead the work, because we recognize early on that this is quite an undertaking. There's so much, with it. So as we kind of started learning ourselves and going to like professional development opportunities, looking at what other states and districts have developed, we feel like we're now at a place that we started developing some of the guidelines, like the draft guidelines. We're at a place that we feel that we need to just bring in more voices. So I'll present more details definitely the next month with our director of technology, but we're really looking at a wide range of representation. So having parents, school committee members, to expand our greater reach of staff also across the board so that it truly is a representation of, because it affects like everybody, and really just taking a look at not only AI, but digital learning too. So kind of spend time because I think that those two kind of go in. But we'll have more details in terms of what exactly the plan is, you know what I mean, and how it's gonna look the next one.
Other questions? Comments? All right, thank you. Lots of exciting things happening and coming up. All right, so the next item on the agenda is remarks from the chair, and I want to take a minute this is the last joint committee meeting for a few school committee members. And I know you'll each have an opportunity to say goodbye in your individual meetings, but you also work with each other on subcommittees that are joint related. So I did want to acknowledge and thank the following members who will be stepping down from their roles. Judy Lett from Brewster, Monica Montoya Quintero from Eastham, and Sarah Sherman from Brewster. Thank you all for the time that you put in. We know how much time you put in and effort, and we appreciate it, and you'll be missed. So thank you very much. And this is kind of an appropriate meeting since we've been talking about Union 54. I did want to take a separate minute to talk about Gail Briere is also stepping down from the Orleans School Committee. And I wanted to talk a bit tonight and recognize her for her contributions as the chair of Union 54. So she's been chair of Union 54 for at least 10 years, but I know she'll know the exact number. I hope. I'm counting on it.
Probably 10 years.
10 years, for 10 years. And you've learned a little bit more about Union 54 tonight. It's kind of probably seems like a quiet role to be the chair of Union 54, but I think you learned more tonight that a lot happens behind the scenes. So she's worked on a number of superintendent contracts over the years and brought that to this body, which is one of our most important functions. Back in the day, Union 54 actually used to get together as a group, and we had facilitated discussions about best practices for elementary school committees or topics of interest that we shared. And so we did that in the past, and she used to organize all of that. Even there's so much more like being aware of things happening on all the different committees, right? Like on each of the elementary school committees in the region, just so she can be aware of it and help people out as she goes along. So there's a lot that goes to it, and we appreciate that. And while not a direct function of Union 54, she's also served as chair of the central office budget subcommittee for many years, and has brought those budgets, has guided that subcommittee, and then brought those budgets before this body to be approved. So we want to thank you for that too. I could go on. I will wrap though. I want to thank you, Gail, for your leadership, your commitment, your thoroughness, your clarity, your stewardship of all of our records and institutional history. She has so much information. So if you ever need it, I'm sure she'll still be willing, even when she's done, to share it. And your mentorship to so many school committee members, myself included. Your contributions have been invaluable. Your impact is enduring, and you'll be deeply missed. So thank you.
Thank you.
This is for you, to just thank you for all the time that you put in as chair before.
All right. Could I just say something?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So you got
Oh, they don't fit. So much.
Judy, you want to add something?
Yes, I would love to say something about Gail, because I've known her for a very long time, and she's been really very special in my life back on Cape Cod. And I told you I worked for MTA all over Western Mass, came here, and I've been in every school system on Cape doing that work until I gave that up. Gail has been my go-to person. I knew her when she was a principal. She was an excellent principal at Elaine's Elementary, of course, and much respected. I mean, it was terrific to be working with her. Then when she was in central office, let me tell you, there were times when she definitely had to do some maneuvering to make things work, let's say. And Gail was always there, so we could count on her to help us to move forward and stuff like that. Terrific. On the school committee, I'm sitting here earlier thinking, because I, heard you were leaving, and I'm thinking, how is this place gonna run without Gail? I mean, she to me is that kind of pivotal person that has done such wonderful things. So I appreciate, you mentioned mentorship. It was as if I was getting a mentor out of her as well. So Gail, no, I'm sure you're aware of all that I've just said and such, and you know that I respect you a great deal, and it's been delightful to work with you all these years. Thank you, dear.
So just so you know, I'm not leaving at this time. Alright, I still have all my files. If anybody needs to contact me for anything, I'll always be available to help, always.
Sure.
And not only does she have files, she can usually find them
Yeah.
within minutes, and one single digit minutes, not a half hour or anything. It's remarkable.
I remember when I got on to central office, such committee, thinking, what am I doing on this committee? And I started.
I'm warning you, Gail, through the chair. I have your cell phone number.
So I mean, and you were the go-to person, you have so much knowledge, you're year to year at the tip of your, it's just there. And I was in awe of you, to understand all this and all the pieces. And I said, I remember having a conversation about how you did it. And you explained to me your background, which may help me understand more. But a really good mentor. And
Thank you.
All right.
Amazing.
So now we have to turn and do like more business stuff, unfortunately, but we do have a couple more items. So approval of the minutes for February 4th, 2026 and March 11th, 2026. And we will vote on these as one body. So it'll be hopefully fairly quick. So I'll take a motion for the approval of minutes for February 4th, 2026 and March 11th, 2026.
Absolutely. Carrie's name is Katie Hoffman and not Carrie Hoffman. And the attendees, I'm sure she would recognize it if she was here. So
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. So a motion for the amended minute, what date was that?
I think it's on both. I think it's February 4th and March 11th is Katie Hoffman as well.
Okay, perfect. So a motion for the amended minutes with Carrie's name updated from Katie to Carrie for February 4th and March 11th, 2026. So moved. And a second? Okay, let's roll this through. For the region, or any discussion? Okay, for the region, Katie Cole.
Yes.
Rick Draper.
Yes.
Chris Beasley. Okay. Catherine Lonsdale.
Yes.
I vote yes. Judy Schumacher.
Yes.
Sarah Stair. Yes. For Brewster, Judy Lett.
Yes.
Steve Leibowitz.
Yes.
And Sarah Sherman. Yes. For East Ham, Sarah Higgins. Yes. Monica Montoya Quintero.
Yes.
Lindsay Palmer.
Yes.
And Deborah Raymond.
Yes.
For Orleans, Cassandra Roach.
Yes.
Gail Briere.
Yes.
Ginger Marks.
Yes.
Kathy McNamara.
Yes.
And for Wellfleet, Martha Gordon.
Yes.
Lauren Hill.
Yes.
Melissa.
Yes.
Melissa. Katie Murphy.
Yeah.
And Joan Zukin.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Those minutes passed unanimously. And I think so the next meeting date is not confirmed. It's not September 2nd. Is that, are we still vacillating on that, or is it September 2nd?
Did you want to set a date now?
Oh, I thought we had. That's what I'm asking.
All right.
But more to come, maybe September 2nd, maybe at some other time that week, but we'll let you know as soon as we confirm that. Yeah. And a final motion to adjourn.
So moved.
And a second? Second. And we can just wait for this one. Thank you, everybody. Much appreciated. Have a good night. Lindsay, do you have a